is up, nerds? Last minute setup today for a nice Star Warsy HeyArcher live. All right. I think all my windows are open. We are good to go. I think the only thing that's left is for me to turn on the logo. There it is. Bam. All right, what is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy, your pal, HeyArcher. Welcome to a special HeyArcher Live Star Wars edition. We will take a drink to Clone Wars. It was a wonderful show. It was a fantastic show. It just did so much for the fans, and I even brought some props. My Mace Windu hand that I made many moon ago, and then I had the matching, I don't even know what you would call the armor from Clone Wars. Would it, I guess, just your Republic armor at that point? So I had the old Republic armor for my Mace Windu cosplay. Wish I had a picture I could have overlaid it or something. But it was wonderful. So to Dave Filoni and all of you at Star Wars, I say thanks. But as the Rebel scum would say, may the 4th be with you. I am not Team Rebel. They're just a bunch of terrorists. If you watch Star Wars, they're all just a bunch of terrorists. So I'm not that. I'm Team Dark Side. If you're over here from the income stream, I am Darth Bruh. That's a running joke we have over there. But it's fun regardless to celebrate. The confusion, I think, still stands whether tomorrow is Revenge of the 5th or if it's Revenge of the 6th. I think the ruling's still out. So I just say you celebrate both days. Like, essentially, who cares at that point? Let's turn on the YouTube lighting as well. Whoa, Aaron in the house. What is going on? Hot button question. Is it Revenge of the 5th? Yeah, exactly. Actually, here. I didn't even... where'd my mouse go? There it is. Yeah. Is it Revenge of the 5th or the 6th? I am not sure, my friend. I've actually debated that for quite a long time. I did not even post online that we went live, so I'll do that real quick, and then we will go over everything happening on the show. Because as a reminder, everybody, we are live on YouTube, talking Star Wars. It's the 4th be with you, whatever you Rebel scum want to call it. So head over youtube.com/HeyArcher. Let's hang out. Let's talk Star Wars, and we'll talk Clone Wars towards the end. Things I forget to do on occasion. So we'll just post that up now, and then we'll we talk some favorite Star Wars moments and all that kind of goodness. But for everybody who jumps in, I would love to know what's your favorite kind of Star Wars memory. Maybe what was it that got you into Star Wars? Is there a favorite movie, favorite show, favorite character? The whole 9 yards on that one. Just put up the URL. It's funny, I could have actually had all of this prepared, and instead I ate a burrito because priorities. Very, very important priorities. Burrito overall, including Star Wars. But for me, it will always, as far as my intro to Star Wars, I've talked about this before. Come on. Figures this is when my phone takes forever to, like, load stuff. I've talked about, with Star Wars before. My intro was Empire Strikes Back. That will always be my favorite. That's the one that I always will go to as my number one movie. There it is. Because it was just heavy from the start. And as a kid, I didn't have any backstory to go on. Like, I didn't have the first movie. So it was all just brand new to me. And I kind of, on my own, was like, I had the argument with my mom that movie, what do you call it? Empire Strikes Back was actually the first. and I battled for years on that one. Eventually, I was proven wrong. Of course, it was not the first, but that will always be my favorite by default. So much emotion to that movie, even without seeing the previous movie. So, Aaron jumps in with either way, revenge will be had. That is correct, sir. So yeah, Empire Strikes Back was my favorite. But over the years, my favorite character has changed in Star Wars. And for a lot of you, if you are like hardcore Star Wars nerds or just enjoy it overall, your favorite characters may have changed. Darth Vader has always been one that people kind of gravitate towards because they're like, it's cool that he's the bad guy. But one of the things I loved about Clone Wars was that they went into a deeper understanding of Anakin and what he was doing. Oh, what is up? Just Samson in the house. I need a bruh button, Samson. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the thumbs up as well. So yeah, it's one of those where the Clone Wars, what I loved about it was they got you to really understand Anakin and where he was coming from and all of that. So that's why, to me, that series will always make Revenge of the Sith a far better movie, which I've said numerous times. That does not make for a good movie. You know, having to watch side story and side quests and all of that will never make a movie good. But by watching Clone Wars and a lot of the expanded Disney Universe stuff, that just helps the movie. It helps make the character development that was rushed in Revenge of the Sith make more sense. Coming in with Empire was mine as well. Yeah, it's just such a heavy movie, bruh. That's a running joke in the income stream. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, I'm always posting Pat Flynn. He hosts a stream every day. We jump in there. Samson, Aaron, a bunch of other people. So cheers to the old Pat Flynn and the income stream as well. Tonight's drink of choice will be a nice bourbon on the rocks. So yeah. Again, as I mentioned at the top, for those of you who are just jumping in now, welcome, of course. And I just wanted to kind of hang out and just talk Star Wars for a bit. We'll probably go till about 9:20 to 9:25, just talking Star Wars in general. And then post like 9:25, I will go into spoilers of Clone Wars, because I think Clone Wars, the finale of Clone Wars, the final 4 episodes of the series, I mean, just killed it. Just killed it, absolutely. So, and I also mentioned to leave in the comments your favorite Star Wars movie, and then, of course, favorite characters. So, Anakin has become one of my favorite characters for sure, because of Clone Wars. And it's one of those where, as I said, it made, to me, Revenge of the Sith that much better of a movie. Primarily, and for a lot of you, if you've not seen Clone Wars, I know it's a bit hard to get through at first because sometimes the CGI and the animation is it's off-putting and it seems really kiddie. And it's always hard to explain that even though it appears kiddie, unlike other shows that look just like it, that it is a very much more mature type show. And it's the show that like wasn't supposed to succeed. It wasn't supposed to be a success. And as you watch the show, you could see kind of like it starts off super kiddie. And the movie, when that movie came out years ago, I remember I took my little cousin to see it, and everybody in the theater fell asleep except for me because I was like just excited to have Star Wars. But it was awful movie, just an awful movie. And the series starts off, season 1, kind of still very kiddie. And then as it progresses, and as Dave Filoni and George Lucas are kind of just running the show, it's one of those where they're just like, whatever, let's just do what we want, and if it gets canceled, it gets canceled, you know? During that time, George Lucas, of course, sells Star Wars, but Dave Filoni was still running kind of most of the operations there. And it was great because I was watching the other day this interview or a panel that Dave Filoni had with George Lucas. Maybe it was like Star Wars Celebration or something like that. And Dave Filoni's kind of saying how he took, ideas he had as like movies that he wanted to make and threw them into Star Wars, into Clone Wars specifically. So, for example, between him and George talking one day, they're like, "Oh, I wish we could have made a Godzilla movie," and then they turn around and they're like, "Oh, why don't we make a story arc about a Godzilla type scenario?" And that's the 2 episodes where there's like this almost like dragon monster that has an impenetrable hide that Mace Windu goes and they end up capturing and taking it back to Coruscant, and it storms around Coruscant in a much Godzilla type of way. So it's cool to see that kind of play that they had back then to kind of just do whatever they wanted, making a zombie episode, all sorts of cool stuff like that. If you guys get a chance, on Disney Plus, they released a whole bunch of cool stuff today. You had, of course, Clone Wars. There's also The Rise of Skywalker, which I tried to watch and I made it all of 3 minutes. But you also have on there a featurette on The Mandalorian, and it's really cool because it's showing you almost like it's like a secret society meeting, right? You have at the table Dave Filoni, you have Tiger Waititi. I always say his name wrong. Tiger Waititi or whatever his name is. But you also have the other directors that all directed The Mandalorian. And each of them are telling you kind of like their story to how they became directors and how they try to direct The Mandalorian, of course. The best part about it, I think, was Dave Filoni just even saying that he never intended to do any of that. He was doing 2D animation and storyboards and that kind of work. He worked on King of the Hill, and there's a funny story that goes along that I don't want to spoil. So if you get a chance, check out that. It's like 30 minutes. It's on Disney Plus. I think it's called The Art of the Mandalorian, and it's a really fun watch. So if you get a chance, check that out. But the cool thing about Clone Wars in general that I think a lot of people don't understand when it comes to hardcore fan bases as a whole is Hollywood almost spoiled us with the Clone Wars, because you had a show that was geared towards kids. And when the toys weren't selling, when people were like, this is dumb, Ahsoka Tano is a dumb character, it was kind of one of those things where they're like, all right, well, try your best with it. And they made it their own show, and the fans gravitated towards the show. Show goes on, still not selling toys, still not doing anything crazy. So, of course, like in all businesses, they just end up canceling the show. The fans complained so much that Netflix ended up, which Netflix doesn't get a lot of credit for many things, but Netflix ended up just saying like, all right, we're going to do we'll buy like the lost episodes. So it's like what ended up being the third to last season, I think. They're like, we'll take those episodes and just put them on Netflix. So you had this kind of like 6 episodes that never made it to air end up on Netflix. Then you fast forward and you have people complaining like, hey, you did these cool episodes. That was great. But actually, no, sorry. It wasn't third. It was second to last. I'm thinking of something else. Second to last season. But people, they're like, hey, we wanted more Clone Wars. Like, we don't know what happens to a lot of these characters. You know what happens to the major ones. You know what happens to Vader. You know what happens to Obi-Wan. But there's all these other characters that initially weren't that interesting that they developed as characters, Ahsoka being the best example. We want to see what happens. So Disney acquires Star Wars, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to bring back the creators of Clone Wars and give you a whole new show, and everybody's all excited for it. And then Rebels comes out, and very divisive, because that show, super kiddie, but at least you were able to get a lot of your characters back. But going back to the point I was making, people again were like, this doesn't count. Like, it's cool to see Ahsoka back, it's cool to see Darth Maul back, but you need to finish that story. Like, even though we know the ending of the whole war, there's still characters that just need more development. And by complaining, Clone Wars lived and came back. So that's where, with fan bases in general, people will complain. And now we're spoiled to think that if we just complain on a show, we'll get what we want. But that doesn't always hold true. Aaron Waller, Luke and Han being stormtrooper uniforms is my first memory of Star Wars. Top two are Empire and Force Awakens. Yeah, Force Awakens is an interesting movie because it's one that even I enjoy watching. I've watched it multiple times in theaters. I liked it, but I was like, all right, you're doing a fan film. It's just New Hope all over again, which whatever, it's fine. But I think if the next two movies didn't suck, then retroactively a lot of us wouldn't dislike The Force Awakens as much. If those movies, if they actually developed the story and had a plan, then I think The Force Awakens would have even been seen in a higher light than it was. But Big Baller in the house. Rap and Combat is here. What up, though? Hashtag bruh. Rap and Combat is also from the income stream, so it is good to see you. And again, he's repping the Rebel Scum over here, the May the 4th. I'm telling you, the dark side is so strong. We get 2 days, Revenge of the 5th and Revenge of the 6th. We get them both. Yeah. See? I'm just going to say we're going to get both. I'm going to say, Aaron, we're taking the 5th and we're taking the 6th. HeyArcher in his nerd bag right now. I'm letting him cook. I'm telling you. This channel's heavy nerddom. But I also talk content creation and all that stuff too. So there's plenty of videos to go around. But yeah, Clone Wars, you had all sorts of complaining about it. They brought it back. And what was cool about the series coming back, again, I'm not going to talk spoilers until like 9:25. And the show's going to go until about 9:45. So we have, you're just going to plead the 5th on that one? What's happening? So with, I lost my chain of thought. What was I just saying? The show coming back. Yeah. So with the show coming back, what was interesting was you had a bunch of content that was created, right? So they're producing the show Clone Wars, and you have, a 6th season that's being produced, and you have a 7th season that's being produced. Now, the show gets canceled, and they're almost done with season 6 and had already started like storyboards, animation on season 7. So the show stops in season 6. You have that first comeback when they finish it off, and then you have the season 7 come out, which we just finished. Now, what's cool is that you're watching things that, used to be like on the not dark web, but like, YouTube stolen videos of like what season 7 was supposed to be. You have the Bad Batch and all of them. So it's cool to see that come about. But when you get past that first arc, you're like, okay, this seems like it's going to be getting somewhere. And you reach this middle ground of the season where it's Ahsoka, which is who we wanted to see. And it's just this boring, like 4 episodes of just nothing important. And then you have the final arc that just happened. And that middle portion there, it reminded me of something that happens in wrestling that I didn't even know happened. And I can't think of the term, so if anybody in the comments is a hardcore wrestling fan, please let me know. And of course, if you're here and you're liking this, hit the thumbs up, of course, and subscribe. But they do this thing in wrestling, apparently, where let's say you have the main event that's supposed to be the main event. This is the biggest fight of the night, a wrestling match of the night. The match before it, or sometimes even 2 before it, they have this kind of like a filler fight. And it's that wrestling match that, it's that wrestling match where it's just happening, and it's meant for you to go to the bathroom, go to concession stand, do all that kind of stuff, and then come back. You're like, okay, this is boring. And then by the time the main event or the co-main event happen, you're so craving an exciting fight or wrestling. I keep saying fighting like it's real. You're craving such a good wrestling match that it elevates your enjoyment of the wrestling match, the co-main event, and main event. That's what this show seemed to do with that middle group. 4 episodes is a lot to do that, but that's what seemed to that's what it seemed to be. Oh, we have AV peers in the house. Good to see you as well. Thanks for stopping by. For everybody who's new into the stream, leave down below your favorite Star Wars movie, favorite characters. In 3 minutes, I should have had a timer. In 3 minutes, I'll be talking spoilers on Clone Wars, the final season. So if you don't want spoilers, you can, of course, leave at that point, but make sure you subscribe before you do so. There you go. I'm just going to take both. Yeah, that's right. It's the income stream gang going on in here. We're supposed to say gang gang. Random idea. If YouTube doesn't demonetize catchphrases or movie clip audio, it'll be cool for you to incorporate interactive. Yeah. That would be actually. Literally watching Raw right now, yeah. Yeah, the mid card. That's the one that's like kind of like that filler match. So that way when the main one happens, you're excited for it. Just Samson also with the mid or undercard. Whoa. Big baller. Karma cash flow in the house too. Thank you very much. I'm telling you, we got a lot of crew going on here. I'm loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. We're talking Karma Cash Flow about Star Wars. We are. We're talking Star Wars, and we're talking pretty soon about Clone Wars. So in the comments, of course, leave your favorite Star Wars moment, movie, characters, whatever you like. Now, we're reaching 9:25, so I'll go another like 20 minutes or so talking Star Wars Clone Wars spoilers. Now, a lot of it isn't truly spoiler in the sense that you don't know what happens to certain characters, because if you've been watching Star Wars, you know, of course, you know, Darth Maul lives beyond this, you know, Ahsoka lives beyond this, you know, whatever. But there's cool moments in it, so that's what I'll be kind of talking. It's true. Do need some more income crew for life. Samson, that's a shirt right there. You can get that one. That will be a good one to add on the list. So, Star Wars Clone Wars spoilers here. I don't have any kind of thing, so I'm just going to keep doing that. Say we're talking spoilers at this point of Star Wars Clone Wars. And thank you again for being here. So, the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars, they truly feel like the 4 episodes they wanted to make, and they were good with making just those 4 episodes. And they decided, you know, we have to do 12 episodes of something. But it's one of those where you watch it, and even the quality of the video is better, the animation's better, the action's so much better. So it's one of those where, you know, watching the last 4 of the season, you're like, okay, I know this was the meat and potatoes of what we're going for. And they finally do what we all want to see, and they show us the Battle of Mandalore, which was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Something that I thought was very underrated about the Battle for Mandalore was they decided to actually have like killing between 2 humanoid factions. It wasn't just, you know, droids versus humans anymore. It was just truly people on people. Lots of good chat going on. I'm loving that. So what happens is, you know, we have Ahsoka go to Mandalore, fight Maul. She ends up capturing Maul. And even that battle of Ahsoka versus Maul, it was a conversation. It was a conversation prior to it that was exactly what we all needed to hear and know. Like, as Order 66 is about to happen, where was everybody's mentality on this war? Like, did everybody think the war was ending in that battle? Did they feel like the Jedi were right this whole time? Did they feel there was somebody else pulling the strings? Was Grievous really the one that was the villain? You know, there's all sorts of questions that in a dialogue they talked about. And the best moment of that, this is a spoiler moment for that one, I guess, is when Maul is telling Ahsoka, here's another spoiler thing. When Maul is telling Ahsoka, like, you know, where's Anakin? I was hoping Obi-Wan would bring him here. And, you know, she's all, what do you think you were going to take them both out? Anakin's the chosen one. He's supposed to be the one to save everybody. And Maul's like, no, you guys have had it wrong this whole time. He's been getting groomed to take you guys all out. This isn't one of those, he's the chosen one to save you. He's the chosen one to kill all you. And I'm trying to stop that. And it's just like, it's a mind-blowing moment. So, you know, they end up fighting, dope fight. They get on the ship, take them all out of there. And the entire time, the series, there's no high point in vibe. Like, they're in this battle, and simultaneously Revenge of the Sith is happening. And they're in this battle, and the mood is just dropping, and it's dropping. And they beat Maul, capture him, free Mandalore, and the mood is still going down. And just the direction of the production team to do that, it was just, I didn't understand how they were doing it. But even just as you're watching it, you're like, I should feel excited for these things, but I'm more nervous because I know everybody's about to die. Like, everybody's about to die. Take Maul, put him on the ship, and the second to last episode is Order 66 happening. And that moment where Ahsoka gets attacked by Rex and all the rest of the troopers, you know, you're like, all right, things getting real. I get it. She frees Maul. She's like, this isn't a team up. I just need your help to get out of here. And you go into that last episode and you're like, I don't know what this is supposed to be. Like, right now, Ahsoka's loose on the ship. Maul's loose on the ship. She manages to get Rex to get the chip taken out of his head. What are they going to do in this last episode to even, like, excite me, I guess? And all they seem to do is fan service, all the things you'd want to see a Jedi do in a show. They took so much from the video games, so many Force powers, concepts, all from like the Force Unleashed, and put it in that episode. You got Maul going across the ship, trying to get to the hangar bay, and he's fighting off the clones, similar to what Vader did when Vader's, you know, using the lightsaber at the end of Rogue One. But Maul's doing it all just Force power. Troopers coming out, he's like crushing them with walls, throwing doors at them, doing all sorts of stuff like that. It's amazing. Ahsoka goes and she's like, all right, Rex, we got to get out of here, but you can't kill the troopers because, you know, they're your brothers. And he's the one that's like, no, like they're programmed to kill you. There is no, we're not doing any of that. Like it's them or us. And it's interesting because they even like have that moment where they show you that even though the troopers are now enacting Order 66, they're not doing it because they're just mindless brutes. They're doing it because it's an order. The initial trigger is there that they're like, oh, Jedi, I got to kill you. But even after that wears off, they then know what they're doing. And they're like, an order's an order. Good soldiers follow orders. Shout out to whatever episode that was. And Rex is like, all right, you know, you do what you want to do. And she's like, no, put your guns to stun. We're getting out of here. And they turn the episode into just an escape mission. It's like the raid. It's like we got to fight floor by floor and get out of this thing. And I'm telling you, the use of Force powers in this episode was just phenomenal. So, you know, Maul ends up getting into the engine room and they're like, all right, he's got no lightsaber. How's he going to fight off everybody? Bring the whole engine room down. Maul just hands out, pulling down hyperdrives, pulling consoles out of the ground, wrecks the engine room. Ship comes to like dead stop above this planet. And it's like, all right, cut back to Ahsoka and Rex getting out. And he's on stun shooting. She's blocking lightsabers everywhere. They grab these 3 droids. And the thing I loved about that was one of the best episodes in the series was actually in an arc that involved just droids. And they found a way to get you to to care about the droids, like these R2 units and R5, I think it was the one that was there. And they bring them in, and now they're helping Ahsoka and Rex try to escape. Then in true callback to A New Hope, everybody gets to a hangar bay, and it's like, this is the big escape. How do we get off of the ship? And now the ship is plummeting like into a planet. So fight ensues. Again, force powers that you've not seen on the show before are happening. I don't want to spoil some of those because I want you to see it. But they have a moment where it's like you finally get to see somebody use a force power that in the entire show and all the movies, you're like, why aren't you doing this? It's only been seen in the games. And that is Maul boards the ship and he's taken off. And he's just like, screw you guys, I'm out of here. And Ahsoka just runs over and just force grabs the ship. And they did it in The Rise of Skywalker, but it just didn't seem right. And it also didn't make sense how they knew how to do that, but it's another conversation. But even that moment there, when she's fighting with the ship and the troopers are shooting at her and everything, it's very reminiscent of Star Killer trying to pull down the Star Destroyer in whichever game that was, Force Unleashed, the first one, I think. So super, super fan-heavy fan service episode. The part after that, I don't want to ruin it for you because even though it is a spoiler, the action sequence is so dope, I want you to see it. I don't want... Because I know some of you here haven't watched it, so you have that. But the thing that I think was super, super emotional about it at the very end of the episode, and again, this is going to be a big spoiler. They crash on the ship. Everybody dies, right? Rex and Ahsoka escape, of course, because you've seen them in other shows. But the Imperial Army shows up years later, and that's Clone Wars doing what Gotham was supposed to do, and the show ends with Vader kind of appearing on the show. And it was just, it was like that full circle moment where you're like, all right, I've seen Anakin the whole way through. I've seen him try to bring peace to the galaxy and be the one to like be the one, you know? And Anakin shows up and it's just this old wreckage of a Star Destroyer that's not used anymore and just helmets of clone troopers that are not used anymore. And he's just looking at them and they're just shattered. You know, and it's like, this is all you're doing. Like you contributed to this. You meant for one whole thing to happen and you just screwed it up. So, very powerful moment at the end of the episode. But I'm telling you, all of you, if you have not watched that series and you sat through these spoilers, I left some of it still for you to watch. So I appreciate it. But again, I'm loving all the spoiler alert. I need a real like spoiler alert thing for these type of things. So for now, all I'm doing is just my like, change scenes by mistake. I'm just using my overlay for when the show starts. But at some point, I'll get some sort of spoiler thing. So yeah, the episode was dope. I'm going to watch. I think what would be cool is if they take all 4 of that arc and make one movie, just put them all together as one episode or movie. That would be phenomenal. Let's check out the comments, see what's been going on in there. Thanks, Karma, for stopping by. It was a pleasure. But yeah, that was my little Clone Wars rant, and it was a phenomenal show. If you haven't watched it, you got to check it out. Definitely have to check it out. That aside, you know what? I hope you guys do find some sort of Star Wars to watch today, whether it's one of the movies, some of the TV shows, whatnot. I highly recommend, of course, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite. If you do want to watch a Clone Wars episode, let me see if I can pull it up. I made a video a while back on what I thought were the essential Clone Wars episodes to watch. Let's see if there's a way I can pull this up on here and then even show all of you. in true Pat Flynn style. I thought maybe it was showing up on the TV. Come on. There we go. All right, so let me see if I can switch scenes out here. Dope. So you head over to the page. Oh, we got 2 more subs while we were doing this. Wow, thanks, guys. Whoever that was. And let's go to playlists, Star Wars content. Is it this video, maybe? There's one where I put like a list of episodes to watch. Here we go. So if you're new to Clone Wars and you just want to find some good episodes to watch, you're gonna want season 4, pretty much the whole thing, I'd say. But start off around episode 7 and just kind of go through. Season 5 also ends up being a 6 season, but once you get to like season 3. That's when the show really starts to say, all right, everything that happens now is for a reason, as opposed to just wacky random adventures. So if you get a chance, start with season 4, and then you can always go back and watch the old stuff. But yeah, my video on how Clone Wars saved, ruined, and saved episode 3 is one of my favorites. And actually, in a true, oh yeah, that's right, Aaron. Actually, it's a good point. Is there a way for me to see if I can bring that back? There it is. Yeah, the list of the essentials. Yeah, definitely check that out. But I was going to say, Aaron and I were talking, and we both downloaded TubeBuddy, which gives you analytics on YouTube videos and everything. And it's funny, the videos that I love making the most are not the ones that get the most views, so that will always be my endless battle. But definitely check this one out. I go through and kind of explain why Clone Wars kind of hyped everybody up for Revenge of the Sith, how it set up Revenge of the Sith to fail, and then how it ended up saving Revenge of the Sith when they made the series all over again. Because if you remember, the original Clone Wars cartoon ended at the beginning of this movie, and then in the new series, the 2 episodes ago, they kind of they start doing like simultaneous things, like you see holograms of things happening on Coruscant and whatnot. But this episode, where was that clip just now? This was one of the best lightsaber duels ever, I'd say ever. Also, great usage of the Force. But this season of Clone Wars ends up kind of kicking that one's butt. That's season 5, I want to say. And it's the last time that Dooku battles Obi-Wan and Anakin before the fight that you end up seeing in Revenge of the Sith. So it's a great watch. What you got there? Gonna go back and watch all of them at some point. Watch them as when they came out as a kid. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It is quite the show. Samson's watching The Force Awakens as a type. Yeah, and that's what Aaron was saying is one of his top movies, The Force Awakens. It's just visually so good. Like JJ's really good at the visual aspect, but when it comes to like a story that makes sense and has like a beginning, beginning, middle, end, like he just drops the ball on that so hard. And oh, thanks to you, Rap and Comment. I hope that I get to 1,000 at some point. It would all be because of you guys that I get there. That's what we've all been kind of pushing for on the income stream. So hopefully that 1,000 does happen. Lost my chain of thought again. See you, Samson. It was good seeing you. Hashtag bro. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, put it this way. My list is not going to be with any like intention of you have to watch these to watch something else. I'm just giving you the dopest episodes, and some of them have nothing to do with the main storyline, but they're so good. I feel from a character building perspective, they help you appreciate the other characters. So yeah, definitely check it out. But yeah, we're approaching 9:45. I think that'd be a good time to call it. A nice 45 minutes. I guess some housekeeping notes for all of you. I'm starting a YouTube series, 2-minute tips with HeyArcher. And the plan with that is to kind of copy my 2-minute review series where, the 2 minutes is not including the intro and outro. But in 2 minutes, I want to give you guys YouTube tips, podcasting tips, whatever it may be, similar to how I do the 2-minute reviews of shows. I'm not sure yet. Oh, the camera turned off. And I was just about to say how I beat that. I beat that hack. So, or beat that flaw in the cameras. I had so I'm going to do 2-minute tips, and it might be weekly. I might try to do a challenge where I try to do one like once a week as part of the quarantine, but it's probably going to just be a couple times a month. But the next one I'm going to release is actually the issue that just happened. When streaming with a point and shoot camera, the camera's auto shut off. I figured out a way around it. So that's going to be that's going to be the very first like official 2-minute tip video. And then we have HeyArcher Live on Thursday. It's probably going to be a little bit later than normal, I think, this week. I don't remember. But follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and all of that at HeyArcher, and I'll post the updates for it so you can check it out. And I think that's about it. Thank you. Thank you, Rap and Combat. We're going to cheat the system together here. But no, thank you. Thanks, Aaron, Samson, AV, Karma Cashflow for stopping in. We got to 8 thumbs up. I think that's the most we've had on a live video. So I thank all of you. I won't kill any Jedi tonight in honor of all of you Force users of the light side. But it was this was a lot of fun. I like doing just the rambling, as you guys know. If you do follow my podcast as a whole, there's even a rambling series. It's just something I like to do. But of course, it's one of those where those aren't the most viewed on my channel. It's the other stuff. Whatever. We're just messing around. Thanks for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell to get notified when all the new videos come out. As I mentioned, we're going to have the 2-minute tips coming out. I'll see most of you guys on the income stream tomorrow. I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. Revenge of the Bruh. We're renaming it Revenge of the Bruh.